Hello, I'm Yannick, one of the co-founders at Neurfinity, and today I will show you how to integrate the Magic Summary API into a Remix web app. I have already created a Remix web app using a slightly modified Remix IndieStack starter project, and this already brings us authentication and database. Before we get started, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel. After logging in, we can see that the Indie starter pack is basically just a Notes app. Before we make our changes, let's just see how it works. So I will just create a new note here and just fill test and test for the title and the body. But what we want to happen is when we press save here, in this place we will see instead the summary instead of the actual body that we submitted originally. So to get started, as a first step, I'll just open the env file and add a secret for our API key in the magic X API key variable here. And yeah, you would just paste in your own API key that you get when you sign up to Magic Summary, just in this spot. Then afterwards, let's go and install the dependencies. We need a GraphQL client because it's a GraphQL API, so I'll just install GraphQL request with npm here. And once that is installed, we have both the GraphQL request library and the GraphQL schema dependency that we need. Once it's installed, we can go to the next step, which is modifying the first file, which is here in the folder called models and is called node.server.ts. At first, I will add the imports that we just installed, and afterwards we can go to and create a new function here at the bottom called create summary. It instantiates the new GraphQL client just with this line here. We're talking to the endpoint there. And then as a next step, in order to get this endpoint to do what we want, we will use the API key that we've just stored in our environment variables and fetch it. Then we will set the header for the API key. Please bear in mind that if you use Rapid API, you will have both a different endpoint and different header parameters as per the Rapid API specification that you will need to use here, so it will be slightly different. Then we construct the query. That's the same for everything. I'm using here custom minimum and maximum length, but if you want, you can also just leave those at default. And as a next step, then we just pass in the text from the input variables just here into the query that we constructed. So we've got this text variable and the input string that we pass into the function, and then we move it there. Yeah, and then we just return the data. The next file we need to modify is here in routes, nodes new.tsx. And we will first add an import for use transition out of Remix React. And then we will add an import for create summary that we just created on the server-side functions. We will then modify the action function here that is called when submitting the form. So let me just paste in the code here. And yeah, you will see it's changed a little bit. We're now using input data to store the form data from the body part of the form. And afterwards, we're going to pass that down here to our new create summary function and await that to return. From that moment, when we get this data that's generated from the input data, we then store it in the constant body that is the summary object of the summary JSON, and yeah, then we just create the node as normal. The next thing we want to do is create a little bit of pretty loading indicators. So down here we will add a field set, and we add the transition state of submitting. Of course, we also need to define it. So yeah, going up here to where the constants are, we're going to add one more constant up here. For use transition, that is the React import that we just made earlier. And now we go to the bottom to where the button text is, and we change that from save to create summary, and creating summary as the loading state. So now it's much easier in the user experience to see. So now we just run npm run dev to test it out and see how it runs. So once this is finished building, I will go over here. Yeah, there we go. It's there, it works. And now I just go over to TechCrunch and grab like the first article here. So I'll take the headline and put that as my title. And then I'll grab the entire body, yep, all the way until the end. and paste it here in the body and then press create summary. We can now see the loading state indicator that we've just built, so it really helps with the user experience. It will take about 20 to 30 seconds at the moment to get a summary out of text like this, so it's very good to have an indicator ready for that. Yeah. While we're waiting, one more time, don't forget to smash that like button, and let's wait for the result, which should be here very shortly. And there it is. So this is basically how easy it is to build an app with Remix and the Magic Summary API to have a summarization app. Yeah, and if you want to build this yourself, see how it works, or take inspiration from it, please find the link to the GitHub repo for the project below and sign up for the Magic Summary waitlist. That link is also in the description. Thank you.